What to do, everyday people, man? We up in this thing. Welcome to everybody. We finally live again. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. We are experiencing great success, bigly, great success on the channel, and I appreciate all the new people. Of course, y'all know we do story times on messy content, and we also have stepped into political content. We'll be doing more think pieces. We gonna be broadening our content. Okay, we not just gonna be sticking to one thing. We're gonna be doing breaking news, all that good stuff, man. Straight content. Y'all gonna hear the best from the best. Okay. Y'all gonna hear the real from the best. I'm gonna give y'all real news. Now today, let's start with yesterday. We received a lot of criticism for only showing left wing, far leftist, liberal propaganda. So I went and found some. I went and found as much right-wing content as I could find, all that I could muster up. So we're gonna give everybody an honest opinion on right content. But also, because y'all made me do that, now we gotta see if some of y'all gonna be truthful about your loyalty to Maga, or are you loyal to being a Republican? Because there's conservatives, Republicans, and MAGA. So I want y'all to let me know which one you are. I mean, I guess it matters, but it don't matter. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're a MAGA. That's good. No, I'm not gonna do that. But we're gonna talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So, without further ado, let's get into the content for tonight, because I got a lot. We're probably going to be here all night. Ain't like some of y'all got jobs, so what y'all talking about? Lousy motherfuckers. Yeah, I ain't got no job.
Let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it. A big part of the one big beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, was to fix healthcare. Healthcare is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was.
Yeah, we need more than just talking points. We need more, Mike Johnson, because you say it's in the bill that it's gonna lower prices, it's gonna lower, but everything that happens, everything that's being said, it seems it's doing the opposite. Higher cost of groceries, higher cost of fuel. Fuel is not really that bad, because actually I got gas for I got to get premium gas in one of my vehicles, and it was like $2.69 here in Oklahoma. So I don't know what it's like for y'all around America, but that's pretty reasonable for premium gas, if you ask me. But that wasn't 100% gas either. That was 10% ethanol. So if you want to go premium, 100% gas, you're looking at about $3.49 per gallon, which is not that bad either. Okay, so but for healthcare, we need to see what those prescription prices gonna look like. You hear me? What the prescriptions gonna look like, Mike? I'll tell you, he said, dude, let's listen to what he said.
Let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it. A big part of the one big beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, was to fix healthcare. Healthcare is broken in America. It's too expensive.
Okay, so y'all take a look at y'all's healthcare prices and your deductibles and your your medical supplies and your prescription meds. We're gonna look at that, okay? We're gonna take a look and see if there's a rising cost or if there's a lowering cost. How will this fare? Okay, so y'all hear that? That's in the one big beautiful bill. Okay, so if we listen to Republicans and be like, okay, we're gonna accept the one big beautiful bill on the promise that you will lower healthcare costs. I think that's a reasonable thing, right? But we have to see it. I don't just tell me that. I want where in that bill does it say that you're lowering healthcare costs? Because everything you said y'all was doing did the exact opposite.
It is true that in previous shutdowns, many or most of them have been paid for the time that they were furloughed. But there is new legal analysis. I don't know the details. I just saw a headline this morning. I'm not read in on it, and I haven't spoken to the White House about it. But there are some legal analysts who are saying that that may not be appropriate or necessary in terms of the law requiring that back pay be provided. So I'm sure that'll be there will be a lot of discussion about that. But there are legal analysts who think that that is not something that government should do. That, if that is true, that should turn up the urgency and the necessity of the Democrats doing the right thing here. Even more pain, more than I just listed, for more people. So we got to figure it out. Back row.
Y'all hear that? So now furloughed and laid off, or not laid off workers, furloughed employees may not receive back pay. So not only are they not getting paid, but they won't be getting paid. This is all in every year that this has happened, a government shutdown has happened. Every time, not every year, because it don't happen every year. Every time that it happens, government employees get back pay. Well, this time, this might not happen. Now, is this a Trump administration thing? Or is this a legal ramification of things and people is pushback? Like, oh, let's look into the documents and let's press the line and the urgency on getting this bill signed. Let's see what line we can push so we can get the Democrats to sign. Because if the Democrats don't sign, then Republicans can file whatever the lawyers are figuring out something, because they found this. It says somewhere in the law that they won't get paid. So is this a Republican thing, or are they pushing the line to make the Democrats sign? And I believe they may be pushing the line. Is it right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm just telling you, like, look, if you think laying out, like furloughing government employees for the basis of signing a bill and not getting a spending bill done in America based on healthcare, immigration, all these other little things. Also, the big beautiful bill. They want to put the big beautiful bill in there. All of these things is stopping this, and now you are forcing hand on government employees who don't have a say-so in any of this. You are forcing them to take leave without pay. And that is a problem. But I guess y'all gonna have to hear more about this, because we don't know the exact details. And he didn't say that it will happen. He said that there's a chance they may not get paid back pay. America, we have a problem.
Now we have these local states that are refusing to enforce the law, and we have chaos. Know this, and that is the president has the constitutional responsibility to enforce the laws of the United States, and those laws include the immigration laws. And the president has the authority to call up National Guard to assist in enforcing those laws. And that's exactly what the president is doing, and what Texas is doing. We're assisting the president in that cause. I want you to know, just moments ago, our National Guard, our elite National Guard in the state of Texas, began their deployment as they were loading on planes in Texas, boarding for flights to parts of the country where they will be able to safeguard ICE officials and other federal officials as they try to enforce the laws of the United States of America.
Now, that had absolutely nothing to do with the last two clips or the next clips. I messed up. I didn't put this in order right. But Texas is just doing what they are asked to do. They're still Americans. You got to understand. Texas, Greg Abbott is a long-time MAGA supporter. I don't know if he's a Republican, a MAGA supporter, or a conservative, but he's somewhere in the middle, okay? But when Donald Trump calls his buddies, they go. They go, believe it. Loyalists, Trump loyalists, got to stick to the program, or the program won't work. We're going to come back to that later, because that just didn't make sense, but whatever.
This month, if the ACA tax credits do not go forward, which is what the shutdown is about, which I'm sure will loom large in New Jersey, viewers on this network who are 60 years old, making $75,000 a year, will see $841 increases monthly to the health insurance premiums. There's one party, and Mikey Sherrill, fighting to make sure that does not happen, and another acquiescing to Donald Trump, who in return shuts down an infrastructure project in their backyard, further hurting New Jersey's economy. I think that entire self-owning of Trump trying to own the libs, by extension, hurting Chitterelli, is going to play a big role in this race. This month, if the ACA tax credits do not go forward, which is what the shutdown is about, which I'm sure will loom large in New Jersey, viewers on this network who are 60 years old, making $75,000 a year, will see $841 increases monthly.
$841 a month? Are you kidding me? Mike Johnson just said, previous to Greg Abbott's rant that I accidentally put in there, he said healthcare will go down because that's what they want in the big, beautiful bill. The one big, beautiful, big. I don't know how beautiful this thing is. When I think of beautiful, I think of walking onto the field of a OU Texas football game and the sun is just shining and OU is winning 49-0. I think of that when I think of beautiful. But $841 to my grandma's insurance per month, her health care costs, I don't think that's beautiful. I don't think that's beautiful at all. Cause that don't get passed down to somebody else. That my mom and her sisters, they each pay a quarter of my grandmother's health care every 3 months. One of them pays it every 3 months. So those costs are going to my mom and my aunties to pay for my grandmother's health care. Now, does my grandmother worry? Absolutely not. Am I worried? Yes, because my mom has a single income. Okay? So when you think about things like that, you got to think about the old women, the elderly, the single women, and the children. So in my household, that's two. The elderly, my grandma, the single women, my mama, and the children. I'm a grown man, but we just going to call it the children. Fact of the matter is, those fees are going to get passed along, and they got to get paid. So this is what this is on Fox News. Everybody was like, 1 out of 6 videos come from Democrats. Well, we hitting y'all with Republican after Republican after Republican. Tonight we going red, okay? Okay, we voting red today. We conservative all the way, okay? But I'm just saying, this is Fox News.
Is it the White House's position that furloughed workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
Why do you say some federal workers should not get their back pay? Why do you say some?
Well, you're going to have to figure that out, okay? Ask the Democrats that question. Go ahead.
Mr. President, just to follow up there, I mean, the law says that when the government is reopened, that workers will receive their back pay. So are you going to define the law there, or what do you?
I follow the law, and what the law says is correct, and I follow the law. I always.
Is it the
Y'all, boy. He followed the law. Hey, man, listen. If nobody else in America is a law-abiding student, law-abiding citizen, is our president Donald Trump. Absolutely. But y'all heard, man. Some will get paid. Some will get paid in a different way. What's a different way, sir? What does that mean? Exactly. What does that mean? They'll get paid with unemployment. Because that's what it looked like. A bunch of people unemployed. Okay? You know? That's all I'm saying. This is... Somebody says, your grandmother is likely on Medicare. He's not talking about Medicare. He's talking about market plans. Medicare is set to go up. Did I just tell you my parents paid my grandmother's insurance? Now, she's not on Medicare. Now she has Medicare as a second form of insurance, because she's over 65 and she could file for Medicare. But my grandmother has actual insurance, you know. So I mean, but whatever. Whatever you feel you need to correct me, I'll understand. But yeah, man, y'all people gonna give y'all about to lose y'all jobs, okay? Now, this isn't just he isn't just furloughing Democrats. He isn't just furloughing Republicans. He's furloughing Americans. Okay? He's furloughing Americans. So, American government workers, and they won't get back pay. And that's two people. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and Donald Trump have said it. Now, if two of them said it, it got to be true.
Breaking news here at the Capitol. Senate Democrats just once again defeated the partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. I've made clear we'll sit down with anyone, anytime, and any place to pass a spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people, reopen the government, and address the Republican health care crisis. This is day 3 of Donald Trump's government shutdown, and there's been zero leadership coming from the White House. Donald Trump has been missing in action. He's in the Presidential Witness Protection Program. It's time for Republicans to get back to work so we can reopen the government, cancel the cuts, lower the costs, and save health care.
I don't know what Mike Johnson is wearing, but it looks like he got on some tennis shoes with a suit, and he looks damn near AI. But this is his actual TikTok channel. And he says Democrats are hard at work and Donald Trump is in the witness protection, presidential witness protection. Now, this, how do we know? The Republicans are all over social media. They're all over every news channel. They're everywhere, blaming Democrats for not passing the government spending bill. So, are they not in Congress right now? Are they not at the House working on this? They should be in there night and day from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day until they get this bill passed. Every one of them, Democrats and Republicans, all of them. Every one of them. Did I call him Mike Johnson? I meant Hakeem Jeffries. Anyway, but y'all know what I was saying. Hakeem Jeffries need to be down there from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day trying to get this bill fixed up. Mike Johnson need to be there. That other dude need to be there. AOC need to be there. Bernie Sanders need to be there. All y'all old asses need to be down there on the hill trying to get this bill passed, because every day is a day lost and more people are coming closer and closer to be out of a job, furloughed, and also now at risk of getting paid. You hear me? People are at risk. Americans are at risk for not getting paid. Would you like to lose your job because McDonald's and Arby's is getting into a bidding war and they shut down all the McDonald's and the Arby's? I don't even know how Arby's is still in business, but just saying, if they was and you couldn't go to work and get your money, you'd be pretty upset now, would you? I'm just saying.
Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed. Thousands more are working without pay. And meanwhile, House Republicans are getting paid and not working. So federal workers working and not getting paid, House Republicans paid and not working. Very bad thing for them. Very bad picture for them. Very bad action for them. And now the Republicans are beginning to flip-flop. They're realizing the power of the health care argument from one end of America to the other. Hundreds of thousands.
Okay, this may be Chuck Schumer, but this is Fox News, a Republican bootlicker. But we love Fox News. They give us some of the greatest clips in the world. But even Fox News is pointing out the obvious. And y'all, I told y'all, it's hard to find Republican fact clips when they're not saying anything. They're not speaking out. All Democrats are speaking out. The only two Republicans is Mike Johnson and that other dude. I don't even know his name, but he looked like he looks something different. But they the only two speaking out because they the speakers. The one that keeps showing the big beautiful bill, the 24-page memo. The 24-page memo, that's what the bill that they want to pass. It's not getting passed, dog. Because they're not doing the work. Republicans aren't speaking out. But according to Chuck Schumer, he says they are now flipping to now understanding health care and not blaming it on trying to give immigrants health care. Have you not heard any Republicans say that the Democrats are trying to give health care for immigrants? We haven't heard that in 2 days. Remember the first couple days before the shutdown, all we heard was health care to immigrants, health care to immigrants. That tone has slightly changed, but we're going to get to more.
I pulled a Republican aside on the floor and I said, hey man, there's no cameras around here. I just want to understand. Like, I'm not here to put you on blast in front of a camera, just person to person. I genuinely want to understand, because people think that trying to understand another person means that you agree with them or that you're being soft on them. And it's a huge problem in this day and age, because that mentality really prevents people from being able to connect and persuade. But I pulled this guy aside and I said, hey man, like, I know that you represent a couple of rural hospitals, and this bill is going to devastate rural hospitals. I just want to know from your perspective, are you worried about that? What are you thinking about with your hospitals and your people? Because a lot of people don't know, like a ton of ACA recipients are in red states. A lot of Medicaid recipients are in red states. These are like Trump voters that are almost disproportionately, in many circumstances, being negatively affected. And so I said, like, walk me through how you see this. And he was like, yeah, I just don't believe it. He's like, I know that you guys need to make a big deal out of this to like score political points, but I just don't believe it. And I'm kind of sitting here like, this data shows that this bill is going to devastate a lot of people. But a lot of these folks just like don't believe that data. You know, there was one hospital in one of these districts I was like, yeah, we might have to close. And they are now on their back foot. Like, they thought this was just a Democratic talking point. And now that their own people are being affected and their own hospitals are warning them, they are now kind of low-key panicking.
I actually want to see the data. I don't want to hear it. I don't want y'all talking about it. I don't want y'all to send a memo about it. I want to see the actual data. But here's another thing. Everything is fake news until it hurts you personally. So, as we said, you know, there's a rising cost across America, across the board. So, I would actually like to see the data, and I would actually like to see if this will really hurt Americans. But if this big, beautiful bill goes through, and it actually does great, I would be happy. I would be ecstatic. I'd be like, damn, that beautiful bill is big. Or that big bill is beautiful. But if it does the opposite, I'm afraid of the consequences. I'm not gonna sweat, but I might be like, I'll be worried a little bit, you know. I'll still have a job, and my job will still rise with the cost of living. But is that what I want for the American people? Absolutely not. Everybody ain't got it like me. Everybody ain't got a progressive job. So, I'm just saying, if Democrats get on the good foot and pass this bill just to be like, if Democrats do it just to be like, I told you so, and it don't work out and it works in Republicans' favor, who wins? Americans, right? But there's two sides to every coin. You just better hope you win the flip.
Republicans' big old ugly bill will kick millions of American citizens off health care and drive costs through the roof. They know they're on the wrong side of this. More than 80% of Americans agree with Democrats to extend the tax credits. And Johnson is in a pickle. Why doesn't he want to vote on this? Because there are probably half of his caucus that don't want to vote on anything for health care, but there's another 50 to 80 members of his caucus that see the handwriting on the wall and want to vote for extending the credits. So he'd rather not have a vote, and that's why he's had his partisan strategy of sending us a bill and going home, but it ain't working. Republicans...
Again, this is Fox News, okay? Fox News, known for its right-wing commentary, back showing more Republicans. Okay, not Republicans, Democrats. I'm gonna just go to the page. Let's see.
I've been reporting in Portland and on Antifa since 2020, and they've always been violent. They've always been aggressive.
We're not going there.
Senator Warner, do you want Jay Jones to drop out of the race in Virginia?
Hi, everyone. Let's step back and think about it for a second. everydaypj has apologized.
Environment here in Chicago.
Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed. Thousands more are working without pay. And meanwhile, House Republicans are getting paid and not working.
Madam Attorney General, I think we need a special prosecutor.
Republicans, our position, Democrats' position has been totally consistent. It hasn't changed. We want what an overwhelming majority of Americans want. To end this shutdown and address the health care crisis that will send premiums soaring for millions. Our position.
Okay, I just went through a ton of clips. Did y'all see one Republican speaking out on this bill today? That was a ton of clips. I just want y'all to understand that Republicans are not speaking out on this bill. Republicans are they're just backing the bill. They probably have no idea what's in the bill. But because they're Republican, they're like, okay, we're going for the Republican bill. I don't even think none of these Republicans actually even read the bill, or if they had any input on the bill. All they know is they're voting for the bill. Y'all gotta see what I'm talking about. I don't get this. It's Fox News, but because there are no Republicans talking. I've been telling y'all this for days. Listen, when your team has the ball and y'all commit an offside penalty, and then your quarterback hikes the ball and y'all score a touchdown, do you think your teammate is gonna be like, "Oh no, I went offsides. Ref, that touchdown don't count"? You think that your teammate is gonna say that No. You're gonna shut up and accept the touchdown, okay? Just allow for the refs to do their job and get an instant replay. And that's what Republicans are doing. They waiting on the instant replay. They waiting on the Democrats to throw the challenge flag. They're not speaking out against this. Why would they go against their party? They're loyalists. What are y'all talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? That's all I just wanted to show y'all this. I'm being transparent about the content that I'm putting out, because I'm not finna be no, I'm not finna be goddamn Jimmy Kimmel sitting up here punching down on Republicans all day. Because that's not even the fun part. The fun part is watching y'all. The fun part is reacting to y'all doing what y'all do best, and we're gonna get to that in just a minute. But once we get to that, y'all gonna understand.
Republicans big.
If they put judges like that on, I wasn't served well by the people that pick judges, I can tell you. Things like that are just too bad. I appointed the judge and he goes like that. So I wasn't served well. Obviously, I don't know the judge. But if he made that kind of a decision, Portland is burning to the ground.
I mean, just before we go any further, Portland isn't burning to the ground, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But what does this sentence mean? I appointed the judge and he goes like that, so I wasn't served well. Obviously, I don't know the judge, but he made that kind of a decision. Does he think that saying this out loud will, one, influence the way the judges rule, or is he just taking his mask off and standing there naked telling us what he thinks the judges he appointed should do?
I think that it is very clear that the president is disappointed in the nominee that he put forward back in 2018 in Oregon. And I think that that is where I think it is important for us to also distinguish, President Trump term number 1 versus President Trump term number 2. and the keenness, not only toward the cabinet officials that are placed and nominated into these positions, but also the judges that are being nominated here. And the president was rebuked here in a very, very explicit way by the judge in Oregon. And so, right, this is a moment here where he is up against, if you just take Portland, the Portland police chief is making the case here that this is just, one square block, not the 145 square miles that is encompassing Portland. And for anybody that has visited Portland over the last days, weeks, or months would wholly acknowledge that. And you're dealing with a federal judge who lives there in Oregon and is very aware of what the situation is on the ground. And so clearly the president, I think that this is indicative of, somebody that is, not pleased, obviously, with the decision here, but one in which I think it's calling into question what other venues do you go before ultimately, and what other judges, perhaps Trump-appointed ones, will also rebuke his efforts.
Amy, thank you for your patience. This wasn't a he, but I don't know that even justifies discussion.
Yeah, so what I think what we have here is a failed attempt at getting a Trump loyalist. And I think some people, like Trump said he doesn't want to break the law. A judge who has a code of ethics, they have to take ethics classes and stuff, and an oath of being ethical to the American people. That's who they're being. That's who they have sworn to protect, the Constitution and the American people. So this judge is also following the law as Trump likes to follow the law. But the judge can't just be loyal to Trump based on Trump's ideas versus the law. And that's what we're seeing here. Law versus idea and loyalists. Now, if there in some form or fashion is a law that overrides what this judge says, Trump will then follow the law, because he will find a way to override what this judge says, even if it means getting that judge out of here. And since that judge is a lifelong appointed judge, it's only one way out.
The Democratic plan, and they're going to block that. Same thing that happened last week. They will then go to the Republican plan, and they will probably block that. Now, Congress is paralyzed, lawmakers spinning in circles, the government shuttered. The Senate likely blocks competing funding plans later tonight, and they need 60 yeas. But the GOP believes that Democrats will eventually cave.
I can tell you there's more than 5 Democrats in the Senate who know that Chuck Schumer has led them into a box canyon with this Schumer shutdown, but the consequences will start to pile up.
That includes concerns about aviation safety, as federal employees must work without pay. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has seen an uptick in people calling out sick. Lawmakers are gaming out how long the shutdown runs. GOP Louisiana Senator John Kennedy predicts another week.
It won't end until everybody in the Senate takes their ego out back and shoots it, and then it'll end.
Democrats demand money to curb health care premiums, which could spike. But if you squint, you can see signs of bipartisanship. House Speaker Mike Johnson is discussing Obamacare subsidies with prominent Democrats.
I had I think, a fruitful discussion with Senator Patty Murray about 2 days ago, a day or so ago. Whatever the conference committee comes up with, I will put on the floor.
But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is skeptical of Johnson's promises.
Delay has always been Speaker Johnson's M.O. Speaker Johnson has survived by kicking the can down the road. When Johnson says later, they know he means never.
Now, the White House will not say when it might fire federal workers. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the White House wants to see how the votes go tonight. Jillian?
All right, Chad, what can you tell us as well about these new Republican allegations that the former special counsel Jack Smith had been tracking their phones?
Well, an oversight request reveals that Smith tracked the phones of 12 GOP lawmakers. That includes Lindsey Graham and Ron Johnson. This was part of the probe into the Capitol riot. It's rare, but not unprecedented, to issue subpoenas for lawmakers.
Yeah, I have no idea what that last part meant. But, look, we looking at another week. People are taking off, calling in sick because they're not getting paid. Imagine this. The people who aren't getting paid, the FAA employees, not getting paid, they're going to work. And then you tell them, oh, y'all might not get y'all back pay. So y'all working purposely for free. Y'all working for, this is on y'all's own accord. We're not forcing y'all to come to work. Y'all don't have to come to work. It is, we are furloughed. But we need y'all to work so America can continue to run. But because y'all work, y'all may not get paid because there's a law that may prevent y'all from getting paid, according to Mike Johnson and Donald Trump. So, but no Democrat has said that. No Democrat wants people to lose their pay that they're working for and not get paid for it in the future. But that, y'all see where it came from. Point is, when those people wake up tomorrow and they go to work and they ask their boss, will I get paid for what I do today? And their boss has no answer, what y'all think about to happen? All them bags are going to be stuck on the runway, okay? Man, boy, okay? Okay? Pay attention, America. We have to press these people to get this bill signed. We have to press them, and we have to press the issue for people to receive their pay. It's not the overwhelming majority of America's fault that people are not getting paid. That is a law that someone in the Republican Party has researched to pressure Democrats into signing this bill, so it'd be like, oh, well, the Democrats don't want to sign the bill, and that's why people aren't getting paid. So it went from healthcare for immigrants to pay to furloughed employees. It's all relies on the Democrats signing the big old beautiful bill. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. This is what we've been told. Y'all just got to read between the lines.
Trump just said that some federal employees who have been furloughed because of the government shutdown won't be paid. Now, of course, you and I know that this is highly against the law and that furloughed employees are due back pay the moment the government reopens. But Trump is seemingly saying he's not going to do that. Now, of course, this is illegal, which means if this happens, they're going to face a Trump administration.
Trump didn't say that. I'm gonna fact check him. He didn't directly say they won't get paid. He said there's a law that may prevent them from getting paid, and he's going to look into it.
This is Trump just said that highly against the law and that furloughed employees are due back pay the moment the government reopens. But Trump is seemingly saying he's not going to do that. Now, of course, this is illegal, which means if this happens, they're going to face a Trump administration heavy lawsuits in the court system because you're blatantly violating the law. Now, is Trump just saying this because he's very good at staying on the forefront of media? I'd like to think so, but I also think that this is something that he might actually seriously consider doing. His whole thing is cutting costs, and he might say, well, if furloughed employees were not working, why should I pay them? But he also made it seem like it kind of depends. If he likes the employees or not, as in, do they support him or not, that'll kind of determine whether they're paid.
Now that he did do, he said some of them might, some of them may not, some may get paid in another way.
Or not. In my opinion, this is likely not going to happen. It's going to face severe legal challenges, but the fact that the president is even hinting at this is ridiculous.
This is not a political talking point. This is actually about to happen for millions of Americans across the country. They're going to get a letter in the mail from their health insurance plan stating that their monthly premiums are going to go up by hundreds of dollars per month per person. And it'll be because Republicans, having just voted to kick 10 million people off of health care 2 months ago, are allowing the Affordable Care Act subsidies that made premiums cheaper to expire. American families all across the country will have an impossible choice to make. They don't have an extra couple $100. They really don't have that money. Tens of millions of Americans are going to be forced back into the period before the Affordable Care Act, where they'd look at their health care premiums and say, I just can't do it. I can't make my rent or my mortgage, pay my utilities, pay my grocery bills, pay for gas, pay for kids' tuition, pay for my parents, and pay for health care. A lot of you remember that time. And what's going to happen this fall is not a political challenge for Republicans. It is a real challenge for people across the country. Democrats are ready to work with anyone to restore health care for the millions of Americans who are about to get smacked in the face. But that starts with a meeting. It has to start with a meeting. And Leader Thune and Speaker Johnson haven't even asked Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to sit down and discuss this. It starts with a conversation about how to avoid all this pain for millions of Americans across the country.
Yeah, it's Leader Thune. It's Thune. That's his name. That's the guy. Thune and Johnson. Anyway, all he had to say was single mothers and children. If he threw that in there, if he threw single mothers and children in that speech, I guarantee you he would have won 90% of America's, standing ovation had he thrown single mothers and children in that speech. But since he forgot them, nobody believes him. But he's telling, he could be possibly telling the truth, but we don't know until that bill passes, and then we find out in 2 years when data shows after this bill versus 2 years from now what the cost of health care is.
Are you concerned about the delays at airports, and how do you see the shutdown?
Oh, sure. I mean, they're all Democrat delays. There are delays at the airport. That's standard. And again, this is something that every day we put forth a bill. It's just a continuation. It's a very simple thing to sign and very simple to do. And I really think that these are people that I think they have nothing to lose. They have a party that's out of control. They have no leader. Nobody knows who the leader is. I look at people with very low IQs like Crockett, this woman Crockett. I never met her, but she's a low IQ individual. I look at AOC talking about how if they want to negotiate, they can come to my office. She's not in that position to do that. And who the hell is she to say that? And then I watch Nancy Pelosi not knowing what to do. I watch.
Are you concerned about the delays at
Hey, I didn't know that this was a Democratic delay, like a Democrat delay. Like, what does that mean? What does a Democrat delay mean? This is a government delay. Every one of you old farts in the government on the Hill debating whether we should have cheaper health care or a big beautiful bill, and y'all not coming to a mutual agreement to fund the healthcare and pass this big old beautiful bill. Because hell, the rich need to get rich and the poor need healthcare. So I don't see what the problem is. I mean, I can figure it out. You know what I mean? But saying this, I think the talking point. I think America is burnt out with the talking points at this point. Like, the Democrats, I don't even know outside of the healthcare part of this bill, I don't even know what their agenda is. I think Democrats actually want to pass the big old beautiful bill. But I think that whatever is in there for the healthcare, it probably don't look good, because no Democrat in any of these videos have said the big beautiful bill was a terrible idea. But they do call it a big old ugly bill, just trolling Trump. They're not saying it's not a bad deal. They're just saying you need to remove that healthcare provision that will end up raising the cost of healthcare when, and also Republicans are saying that that same instance is to stop migrant workers or immigrants, not migrant workers, immigrants from receiving American healthcare. But mind you, if an immigrant goes to the hospital, I don't think they could just turn them around. They might fix you, but they're going to kick you out. But I don't think they're going to turn you around and be like, oh, no, you're an immigrant and you don't have insurance. Or, so if you are an immigrant and you got insurance, I mean, that's not a bad deal, because at the same time, hospitals get paid. Other than that, that's why we got multiple closing hospitals all across the world. And now you see more people going to urgent cares because it's a more cheaper. Mind you, I went to the emergency room a while back. And the only reason why I went to the emergency room is because the urgent care was closed. So I had to go to the emergency room. Boy, you know that emergency bill was high as hell. I was like, damn. I should have just waited till the next morning and went to the urgent care. But I didn't. So I say all that to say this. Like, we need these hospitals open. We need more urgent care facilities, but we need a cheaper and I got real insurance. I ain't got Medicaid. I don't got the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, whichever version you want to say you claim. But no, I don't have that. So I don't know. I'm just saying my shit was high. And even after my deductibles, and maybe that's my insurance, because the open market is coming up soon. And you know what I'm doing? I'm changing my insurance because I don't like the insurance I have. But I have that right. I have a job that allows me to pick my insurance. I don't think every American has that right. And I think that's where it will hurt America. But y'all let me know.
Wow, we now have actual proof that Charlie Kirk was indeed abandoning the pro-Israel cause right before he was assassinated. Charlie just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year, because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking about inviting Candace. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied.
Again, this is another one out of order. I don't even know
What is saying that Speaker Johnson doesn't have anybody here working on the appropriations process? You know, it's something that they could be working on for the American people, but aren't. Republicans haven't been here in, what, 17 days?
He's just a puppet of the Trump administration. I mean, when they tell him to jump, he asks how high. I mean, he said today at a press conference that they're working around the clock on some of these issues. There's nobody here. What the clock is he talking about? I mean, there's nobody here. I mean, it's pathetic. And I think that's one of the reasons why Republicans are losing in the polls, because people know what's going on. People see with their own eyes. And they're not only not here, I mean, they're on vacation. They're laying on their couch somewhere. And, you know, we should be here working to prevent this shutdown.
Again, Hakeem Jeffrey spoke on this earlier. He said, where are the Republicans? They are missing in action. They aren't on the job. They need to be on the job from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. They need to be in there closing this deal. Somebody need to be bringing them in lunch. Somebody need to bring their kids by so they can kiss the kids or grandkids or somebody. But whatever the case may be, they need to have porta potties outside of the deal, outside of the room, outside of the little hall. What else do they need? They need the little water machines that spray the water on them because they get too hot while they in session. They need everything that they could possibly get to keep their asses in those seats until the government is back open. But as many Democrats are saying is, look, the halls are empty. They're not here.
I said, let's see if we can get it all done, because these Democrats are like insurrectionists. Because of the tariffs, because of the election, because of the policy, because of the great big beautiful deal. It's what I added the word great because it really is. It's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. We don't need another bill. I said,
that bill had 5 different names: big old bill, great big bill, the big beautiful bill. Just give it one name so we can all stay on one accord.
let's get it all at once. I was greatly helped by our Speaker, Mike Johnson, and by the Senate. I'll tell you what, John Thune's both of those guys have been incredible. And we got a bill passed that I said, let's see if we can get it all done, because these Democrats are like insurrectionists, okay? They're so bad for our country. Their policy is so bad for our country. I said, let's see if we can get it all done and everybody said it's not doable, because it's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country, and we got it all done. We don't need anything else. We got everything we want. I said,
again, I think Democrats will be on board with this great, big, beautiful deal. He called it a deal, not a bill no more. It's not a bill no more, it's a deal. But maybe it will still be a bill, go back to being a bill tomorrow. Or maybe it go back to being a big old bill, or a big, beautiful bill, or whatever the bill it is. I think Democrats will be online if we do some health care provisions to that bill. Like I said, y'all need to get y'all's asses to work. Y'all out here golfing and shit. Being at they was supposed to be on the Hill prior to the government shutdown working on this, but instead they were out golfing, watching the U.S. team golf. You know what I'm saying? Rubbing elbows with other like-minded individuals like Michael Jordan, who said Republicans wear shoes too, looking ass. So he was down there with all his Republican friends. Listen, man, America, if y'all still sitting back talking about, oh, liberal this and Democrat that and Republican this, it's obviously these two don't want to work together. They don't want to work together. And unfortunately, some people won't get paid because they don't want to work together.
In a stunning domestic spy development last night, Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, headed to judicial.
This is day 2 of the Trump Republican shutdown, but it's also day 256 of the chaos that Donald Trump has unleashed on the American people from the very beginning of his presidency. Now, earlier today, J.D. Vance said he's willing to come to Capitol Hill to sit and meet with Democrats to try to work this out. We're here. We're ready to sit down with you. Come to Capitol Hill. Here's what you need to be prepared to agree to. We need to address the Republican health care crisis and extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans. This is day 2.
I'm going to let y'all figure that out. That was old, but it was new at the same time. 45, 47.
As for Chicago and cracking down on crime, it is a priority of this administration to ensure that American cities are safe again. And I'm so glad that you brought up the crime in Chicago, because we've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there. He doesn't need President Trump's help. Well, I think the residents of Chicago beg to differ, and the statistics beg to differ. And I'll just share a few of those statistics with all of you. For 13 consecutive years, Chicago has had the most murders of any U.S. city. This is J.B. Pritzker's legacy, by the way. For 7 consecutive years, Chicago has had the highest murder rate among U.S. cities with more than 1 million people. In 2024, just last year, Chicago's murder rate per capita was 3 times higher than Los Angeles and nearly 5 times higher than New York City. That's more than double the murder rate in Islamabad and nearly 15 times more than Delhi. Out of Chicago's 147,899 reported crimes this year, that's how many crimes have been reported in Chicago since January 1st. There have only been arrests in 16% of them. These numbers are unacceptable. There have been more illegal guns recovered in Chicago than in New York City and Los Angeles combined. The number of reported motor vehicle thefts last year was more than double the number in 2021. And Chicago has also, just like DC, come under scrutiny over discrepancies in its homicide data reporting. So as bad as these numbers are, perhaps they are even worse. And this is Governor Pritzker's legacy. He should put politics aside. He should pick up the phone and call this president, who would be more than happy to do right by law-abiding American residents in the city of Chicago, and we hope that he will.
Okay, over the past 24 hours, I have heard from more people who are from the Chicago area. And of course, as I said, I'm not from there, so all I could base my ideas on is from what I see on the news and what I hear in rap music and what I hear from people just on social media talking about the rack. Okay? And the fact that y'all call it Chirac and then be like, Chicago not a bad city, but then y'all call it Chirac, that's kind of crazy, but that's neither here nor there. But in any other sense, people are saying that the crime is as bad as it is. There are people who want to rid this crime. People are crying out for help in Chicago. Forget according to what we say or what we see on social media, like the people combating the agents and the federal agents and the ICE agents in the streets. Forget that. That's not those videos don't represent the voices, all the voices of Chicago. There are voices in Chicago that really won't help. And that's just from the comments I'm seeing. And I'm going to take their word for it, because if they say they from Chicago and they say what they want, then I'm going to believe them. I don't know. I'm not from there. Do I want to go there and figure it out? Do I want to stand on the main line and be like, where y'all niggas at? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out there and find out if it's really that bad. I'm going to just continue to watch from afar. But I will support those who are truthful and honest with what's going on. Like, why won't they do like Memphis? Memphis is putting their resources with the government resources, and they want to have some type of control and say of what's going on. And they want to have transparency with the people in the communities. And that's why they brought all the community leaders together. And I believe from other people who have talked to me behind the scenes about what's going on in Memphis, that Memphis actually is talking to leaders of gangs and gang-infested areas where they're targeting. And they're also targeting areas where there are a bunch of immigrants and stuff like that. So I haven't talked to any of the immigrants, but I just you know, my people. But what they're saying is that the community leaders actually want to have some order in what they're doing. So Chicago probably needs to they need to get on that bunch. But I don't think Chicago has the leaders as much as they have the drillers. There are more drillers than they have with leaders. And if you don't know what a driller is, just just Google what drill music is and what's the nature of what drill music is. And what they do on a drill. So the point being, I think the voice of Chicago is being placed online, not by the people who are in these areas that are being affected the most, and they want the most change in their community with the help of the national government. So I don't know. Like I said I'll be totally unbiased to a situation that I don't know, but I am willing to listen and learn. So I'm not saying that what they're doing is wrong or right, but I believe there is a right way, and I believe the way that Memphis is going about it is more productive than the governor of Chicago fighting back at, Trump coming into the country. Like, come on, like put some people in place. Put people in place to kind of move this thing along, and like let's figure it out. Like, I'm not saying, because if not, then the government just gonna come and storm the city. You don't want them to storm the city. You want them to come in and have a plan. And then after that plan is done, what are y'all gonna do next? There needs to be programs and initiatives and education systems and tech schools and more opportunities for people to get out these streets and become a productive citizen, by doing like, plumbing and welding and things of that nature. You just got to do everything. It's a whole process. It's not gonna happen overnight. But if it takes the time and you get the right people in, I believe it could do it right. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know, but I don't see none of y'all coming up with goddamn solutions. I'm just saying, not none of y'all, but the people.
He also says that you are profiling, that you're targeting black and brown people, even those who turn out to be here legally. What's your response?
Well, first of all, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who are stealing their housing, jobs, and resources. The illegal aliens who are here are taking jobs away from blacks, they're taking jobs away from whites, they're taking jobs away from Latinos.
He also says that you are profiling, that you're
Man, let me tell y'all what. Man, you ain't gonna get my black ass up on no roof in no 100-degree weather to fix your damn roof. Kiss my black ass. You can have that job. You know what I'm saying? They're taking jobs from blacks. No, they not. No, they're not. No, they're not. But they are doing jobs that a lot of blacks wouldn't do, if you catch my drift. But I'm just saying, sometimes y'all need some honesty, not just, run-of-the-mill political commentary.
And in fact, they don't even let our ICE officers and our Border Patrol officers use restrooms in facilities. Those men and women were telling us that they have to figure out even where they can go sit down for 5 minutes to have lunch or to use a restroom throughout their shift and their break. So they've made it a very difficult situation. And in fact, they don't even...
Guys, we need to talk about Kristi Noem, because bless her heart, the head of Homeland Security is on Fox News crying like Chicago committed a felony by refusing to feed ICE agents. Ma'am, sit down. The city that invented deep dish pizza doesn't owe your deportation squad a damn breadstick. Picture it. Restaurants across Chicago full of working folks just trying to sling pasta and pay rent, saying, nah, we're good. And suddenly Kristi's on camera, eyes missing over like she just lost the National Empathy Contest, worried her agents might have to DoorDash decency. Let's get something very straight, Kristi. This is the same woman who once bragged about shooting her own puppy for not being obedient enough. But now, she wants the country to cry because ICE can't get table service. Girl, if irony were I
don't know, that's kind of inhumane, but it is what it is. I don't think that's a good idea. I think, paying customers are paying customers, but you have the right to refuse service to anyone. But, I find it hard that you would deny service to an ICE agent, but if a criminal came in there, you would feed them. Like, It don't matter. Just feed the customer. If they're a paying customer, and now if they want free food, then you could be like, nah, you can't get no free food. Or if they be like, can I get a military discount? You be like, nah, we don't offer military discounts. You know, stuff like that. But it would be kind of inhumane to like not serve people food and water. You know, let's be honest about that one right there.
Yeah, buddy. It's your boy Chicago's very own James J. Hustle Hawthorne reporting to you live from GNN. That's Ghetto News Network. And you know, it breaks my heart that if you're looking at this picture in the background, you know that it's gone super viral over the weekend. And it just really breaks my heart that black people are so gullible and naive, that you are brainwashed by the mainstream media and the left to get emotionally distraught and share things that are not true. Black people, stop being so easily manipulated. Do your own research on things. I know I've seen this video way before this raid. This was months ago I've seen this video. And I had to actually go find it to show you all proof. And I'm about to show you the video in just a second. But black people, please stop being used and manipulated by the Democrats. They want you to be emotionally distraught. They want you to be angry. They want you to get out here and riot and do all type of crazy things because you're assuming that this is a child that was detained by ICE and zip tied behind his back, and it's not true. This child is actually playing cops and robbers with his father, which is a black cop, not from Chicago and not an ICE agent. So I'll show you the video right now.
I want you to really break this down to me like I'm 10 years old and tell me why ICE agents zip tying black babies in Chicago, because I can't for the life of me understand why this happened. Why?
Meanwhile, this is what's happening to black children in our neighborhoods.
Hey, so all right, so apparently my video yet going viral again. Literally, this is us. But if y'all don't know, me, myself, and my son, we live in Texas. We don't live in Chicago. Me and my son playing cops and robbers. Got a whole series on my page. I'm trying to figure out why people lying to make it political. Don't fucking know, but it's sick as hell, and y'all need to find.
Must be bad, you know what I'm saying? You lock him up every time he run off. He go in the cupboard, steal some cookies, lock his ass up.
Bad guys. DHS says that CBP officers shot and wounded a woman in Chicago yesterday after, they say, she allegedly rammed a law enforcement vehicle and agents were boxed in by multiple cars. The spokesperson for DHS, Tricia McLaughlin, accused Chicago police of leaving the scene and refusing to assist agents in securing the area. What do you know about this incident? Were federal agents boxed in and assaulted?
Well, we don't have a lot of facts. What happens in these sorts of incidents is typically ICE puts out a press release before anybody else can speak with the press, and then it gets reported on social media and elsewhere. Remember, these are the same folks who killed a person, unarmed person, just a couple of weeks ago in Franklin Park. At first, they said that the officer had been threatened with his life. The reality of it and the truth of it has now come out, and that wasn't the case. They killed somebody. So here it's really hard to know exactly what the facts are, and they won't let us access the facts. They are just putting out their propaganda, and then we've got to later determine what actually happened.
Somebody said, who the hell is watching Dark Vader? Ooh, somebody give him a CPAP machine. You over here trying to record. Yeah, we can't even pay attention to what Governor Pritzker said. Oh, well, fuck his name is.
Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
I noticed that. What's the secret? Why do you want to keep this secret? The American people don't know the rationale behind the deployment of National Guard troops in my state. The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I've been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not they had a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for a personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place. Were you consulted by the White House?
I mean, if we need to get these people pacifiers and baby bottles, they need to be burped and put to bed, because people are on the hill are freaking, you know, they just tired and they need a nap like little babies. They throwing temper tantrums. And is this how, I guess this is how Congress works. Like, some people are there to conduct business and some people are there to get, viral moments. And it's the fact that people are cheering this on. It's like, we're not getting anything. That's why we can't get anything done. We can't get a simple thing done, because as much as the only person who is transparent in the Republican Party is Donald Trump. And he's transparent to a fault. In fact, he's so transparent that it like throws off everybody else. So while he's being transparent, there's a lot of things going on behind the Republican Party that we missing out on, because he'll throw you for a loop talking about some crap, and then y'all be like, we be over here looking, well, he said this, and the whole time it'd be something over there.
FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy AG Todd Blanche are headed to Chicago, intent on, quote, crushing, in their words, violent crime, following close behind the Texas National Guard, as the White House shows it's not waiting for a federal judge to decide on Illinois' request for a temporary restraining order against that deployment. Joining us now, MSNBC senior national and political correspondent Jacob Soboroff. Jacob, you have a lot of new developments. Explain to us what you've been seeing.
You know, the whole justification, Katie, for sending in the National Guard is that the president and the folks that work for the president painted a picture of a lawless Chicago, that the worst of the worst are roaming the streets, and that's why federal immigration enforcement has to be here to be part of this large mass deportation effort. Well, we just witnessed some evidence. MSNBC did. We rolled up on the aftermath of an immigration raid here in the Cicero neighborhood, 90% Hispanic, in the western suburbs of Chicago, where that wasn't the case at all. If we can put up the video, what we saw and have obtained from people who were here on the scene at the time was federal agents on the left-hand side of your screen outside of this bakery, La Baguette, basically picking up two guys who were here on their way to work, grabbing a cup of coffee. Literally, the cups of coffee are still, I think you can still see them still sitting on the trash can right behind me. And as we were reporting in the previous hour about this incident, about these federal agents showing up, grabbing these two gentlemen as they were getting their coffee and their pastries, one of the cousins of one of the two men, Daniel, showed up and wanted to talk to me because he didn't know where his cousin was or where they were taking him. He allowed us to film some of that conversation, so let me show you that now.
They just randomly showed up. He didn't do anything wrong. They just took him forcefully. They're scaring everybody around now, so I feel like a target too, even though I'm a U.S. citizen. But
you feel like they would even arrest you?
Yeah, at this point I do.
Does your cousin have a family?
Yeah, he does. His mom, dad, everybody here, his kids.
He's got kids too.
Yeah.
FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy AG.
Confrontations are rising between demonstrators and Illinois State Police here throughout the day outside of the ICE Detention Center in Broadview. This comes as the White House says President Trump has authorized the Illinois National Guard to be deployed here after an ultimatum was given to Governor J.B. Pritzker.
And I am here for my students and their families.
A crowd of anti-ICE demonstrators cheer on at least 4 people we saw detained by Illinois State Police as they were walked into a Cook County Sheriff's Office van in handcuffs. We blurred their faces since it's unclear if they will be charged.
Move back!
They were taken down as troopers were clearing the street outside the ICE detention center in Broadview.
Go to the protest area!
Backing protesters into designated zones, feet from the immigration building and surrounded by concrete barriers. Federal agents on the other side of the fence with their flying drone above it all.
I'm not here to deal with the state police. I'm here to deal with the kidnapping that ICE is doing. And it's immensely disappointing that the state police are putting themselves between us and ICE.
Are you guys here to protect?
Tensions continued throughout the night between state police and demonstrators. This comes as the White House is confirming National Guardsmen will be federalized in Illinois. The White House saying in a statement, quote, amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness that local leaders like Pritzker have refused to step in to quell, President Trump has authorized 300 National Guardsmen to protect federal officers and assets. President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness plaguing American cities. That decision coming after Governor J.B. Pritzker said in a statement earlier, quote, the Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will.
It's a continuing overreach by the president. I mean, the governor is responsible for calling up the troops when they think it's necessary.
That warning came the same day a federal judge temporarily blocked President Trump's attempt.
I mean, like I said, people from Chicago are saying it's necessary, but then you have people who are going on to the... Now, does the media puts who they want to put on the media. They want to put on the news. So are they spinning it? This is ABC Chicago. I don't know if ABC Chicago is politically biased. But I would assume they would go to a person. They will find somebody who is for this. But maybe anybody who is for this is not speaking out, and because they don't want to be doxxed, they don't want to be targeted, they don't want their family to be targeted. It's a lot that goes into this. So
you've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen?
Yeah, he glitched out.
Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue. We'll try to fix that and get back to you.
Citizen advocate.
He didn't charge his battery before he went out there.
Video shows the chaos.
Oh, was that Michael Jordan? Said fuck it. That's great. It ain't even funny. But for real, nigga, fuck them kids, goddamn.
And I don't think any American would disagree that Chicago needs more law enforcement reinforcements, that they need more resources. Look at this headline from over the weekend. At least 30 people shot during the weekend in Democrat-run Chicago. 5 of them were killed in one weekend. This is completely unacceptable, and the president wants to make American cities safer, and he's willing to work with anyone to do it. And I don't think...
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of... It seems like we're having a technical issue.
Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. During the campaign...
Thank you, Peter.
I was raised to say thank you in the White House briefing room. During the campaign, President Trump said that he did not know anything about Project 2025. Now he knows about it. Is that the blueprint for shrinking the government?
Look, the blueprint is what the president and his team and his cabinet secretaries ultimately decide. And the president trusts his cabinet secretaries to identify where there is waste, fraud, and abuse. We pointed out this morning, or Russ Vogt tweeted about this morning, a Chicago rail project that was canceled. We paused $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the red and purple modernization projects. And it's because the administration is concerned that the Biden administration was handing out taxpayer dollars to pay for this construction based on DEI. DOT is reviewing the race-based contracting on unconstitutional grounds, and in the meantime, the Department of Transportation funds for these projects are on hold. So I guess this answers both of your questions. This would be an example of that.
And just because there's so much shutdown talk, something different.
I gotta go back because I gotta Google what the hell she just said, but I think what she said
red
is
and purple. $0.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension.
I'm finna look up the Red Line extension, but I think that's some racist shit. So, oh no. Okay, that ain't nothing. Okay, in terms of redlining in the housing market, that's why I had to check that. Because redlining meaning like back when like they weren't selling blacks homes outside of the red lines. Like they would have these areas where they would only sell black people homes. And that's what they call redlining. Let me see. I'm finna get. Redlining is a discriminatory practice of withholding financial and other services from neighborhoods deemed risky due to the high concentration of racial or ethnic minorities. So when she said that, that's what I immediately thought of. But in Chicago, that is for a train. That's a train. So two different things. But when she partnered redlining and DEI, that's what made me think, I don't know.
Rail project that was canceled. We paused $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specific cabinet secretaries to identify where there is waste, fraud, and abuse. We pointed out this morning, or Russ Vogt tweeted about this morning, a Chicago rail project that was canceled. We paused $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the red and purple modernization projects. And it's because the administration is concerned that the Biden administration was handing out taxpayer dollars to pay for this construction based on DEI. DOT is reviewing the race-based.
See, this is the part where it sounds like they're doing what actual redlining is versus the red line construction project for a rail station. So it's saying that they're trying to roll back something Biden did because they're doing it for DEI, which is probably discriminatory practice with withholding financial and other services from neighborhoods is what they're trying to do. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but if she broke down what she means by this, I think we'll get a better understanding. But just from the everyday average American, this sounds a little fishy, but I mean, you can go buy a property anywhere, here in Oklahoma, but I don't know what she's talking about in Chicago.
Contracting on unconstitutional grounds, and in the meantime, the Department of Transportation funds for these projects are on hold. So I guess this answers both of your questions. This would be an example of that.
And just because there's so much shutdown talk, something different. What do you guys think about the NFL's decision to name Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime performer? Somebody who has not scheduled shows in the U.S. because he says that he's worried that ICE is going to come and arrest his fans.
Well, look, I know there are many in this room who are very anxious to hear the president's response to Bad Bunny being the halftime show, so I won't get ahead of him. I won't reveal what he feels about this. Next time you all ask him a question, you're welcome to do that. I have my own feelings on that, but that's not what I'm up here to talk about. As far as ICE being at the Super Bowl, as far as I'm aware, there's no tangible plan for that in store right now. However, of course, this administration is always going to arrest and deport illegal immigrants when we find them. If they are criminals, we're going to do the right thing by our Peter.
All right, so they said they're going to arrest illegal immigrants when they are criminals. Deemed that you came over to this country illegally, you are officially a criminal by law. That doesn't mean that you're out committing crime. That just means you broke the law, and as you continue to be in this country, you are continuously breaking the law. And that is the legal, that's her legally saying right. She's right in what she's saying. They're arresting criminals because as you're in this country illegally, you are presently committing a crime. You don't, once you cross, it don't mean like the crime only stopped when you crossed. If you continue to stay here in the country illegally, you're still a criminal. And that's that fine line in quotations of criminal. So just like they arrested the old people outside the deli, I believe just it doesn't matter. Age don't have an effect on who gets arrested or what. As long as you're in this country illegally, they will deem you a criminal and they will arrest you. And that's what she just said. And so don't go to the Bad Bunny concert. Just saying. And or I wouldn't even go to no concerts. If you're an illegal immigrant, I wouldn't go to no concerts. There is a high chance that you will go to a concert or any gathering, and there will be ICE there. But you know what? I live in Oklahoma, a red state. We haven't seen ICE here. Or have we? I don't know. I don't think I've seen ICE. Maybe not. But whatever the case may be. I think I got more, but I think I'm going to call it a night. I've been on here for an hour and a half. So I think we've riled up everybody for down. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, I'll give my perspective on Republican commentary or things that are coming across as, but we didn't even get into the MAGA support. So I think I'm gonna do MAGA support tomorrow, and we will definitely touch that. And because it is what it is. It's crazy out here. It is crazy out here. It's crazy out here. Yeah. So thank y'all for joining, man. Let me know what y'all think, man. Like I said, if y'all have topics, Everyday Thing with PJ on Instagram, Everyday PJ on TikTok, Everyday PJ on Facebook. You can follow me all on there, and that's where I'll be every day. So thank y'all for watching, man. We definitely gonna keep it lit again tomorrow. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.